It's September the 2nd, and we're back for another brand new episode of the KickOut. I go by the name of Skillet.
My name is Mex.
And we have a special guest with us today, someone who's a lifelong wrestling fan, I assume. I'm the vibe I got from this guy when we met and we just connected hands like Hogan and Savage with the Mega Power Stays. He gave me the vibes that he's a lifelong wrestling fan like myself. We've got Jay Bills in the building, Joel, who's also a media man. He does a lot of interviews. He's everywhere. I see this guy working. He's like Mr. No Days Off, Darren Young. He works every day, man. I see this guy. You were in you did something recently, like some press backstage at some Love Island thing. Am I right about that?
That was literally last night. So the movie was Rise of the Foot Soldier. So it starred Terry Stone and Vinnie Jones. So there's a lot of Love Islander people, a lot of the cast that were there. So literally all day, like, because I was talking with you, Skillet, before we got on. Like, literally, I've been editing since last night and this afternoon because I'm putting another clip to the YouTube like this evening. So it's been non-stop, bro. So
it's a hard grind, my friend. It's a hard graft what you're doing right now. So and like, was Kaz? Did you see Kaz there? Was Kaz?
Kaz? No, I didn't see Kaz, but I saw Tyler. Tyler was there. Yeah. So no, he's cool. He like literally.
I'm joking.
Nah, you're looking at me as to say like, nah, they're all rubbish.
I love. You know what? I love Kaz. I love Kaz. I just want to meet Kaz. But no. Tyler, they seem really cool.
Yeah, no, he's a cool dude. Like all the Love Islanders is actually like, you know, after the interviews we had a quick photo, had a quick chat, and yeah, like some of them even commented on my picture that I took out a few hours later. And they got back to me. Even Rachel, one of the Love Islanders, is like, I DM'd her just on the off chance, and she replied back to me. I was like, okay, maybe there is a chance for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro, you gotta get in there, bro.
Maybe.
No
Let's see.
Time.
Don't waste no time. I shouldn't get chosen. You know what I mean? So someone's got to choose her. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, don't make it sound like that. Like it's like she got chosen, so someone like me will just swoop her up. You know the ones there.
I didn't mean it like that. But yes, let's talk about you as a wrestling fan, Jay. Mex and I always, when we have people on our show, we always ask people, what was their earliest wrestling memory? What was the day that cemented you becoming a fan of wrestling?
2000 was the year. 2000 was the year, specifically with the Rock and Triple H rivalry and the Stone Cold Steve Austin rivalry as well. The Rock was still is my idol because when I was in school, I used to get bullied a lot. And wrestling became like my getaway from everything. So when seeing The Rock on TV, he exused confidence and this natural ability to just like bring in a crowd and stuff like that. And I felt like I want to be like him, as far as like not necessarily by speaking to people, but just in the confidence in going for what you want. Also as we have people of color, seeing somebody of color as well doing amazing things will also bring out that influence as well. Do you get what I mean? I didn't really think about it that time because I was just thinking like, doesn't matter what race you are. I wasn't really thinking of race at the time because I grew up in a white family and my dad was never around. So it was just one of the ones that my identity was always a mystery. So I didn't really care at the time about race. It was just more so like, the personality and what the confidence that it gave me. But as I grew older, like I've seen the true significance of what The Rock really brings as far as the wrestling world anyway, like being one of the few black people to be WWE champion, obviously half Samoan, half black. So for that, in that sense of the word, is very inspiring. But like, yeah, that was where my start was in terms of watching wrestling.
Yeah, that's amazing. You mentioned the Rock Triple H rivalry. Mex, one of the best rivalries of all time, would you say?
Yeah, like honestly, I feel like Triple H just in this lifetime, maybe not until NXT, he's someone that was just the perennial villain, never really got his flowers, but the stuff he was doing back then, especially the 2000, 2001, them kind of early millennium times, when he was like, he probably was a top heel on the show. Them times. The guy was insane, and of course The Rock is The Rock, so entertaining, and everything that he's gone on to become, like you said. So yeah, definitely one of those lifelong role models.
And one of the reasons why that rivalry was so entertaining and it was so good is because they actually generally hated each other back then. Like there was actually there was actually real heat between the two parties. Obviously, they're really good friends now. They're really close today. But back then when you're going for that,
that's why they had so much good chemistry back in the day.
Right.
They hated each other, but they made it work through all that 99, 2000 period. They just made it work. Like it's weird how sometimes like chemistries can always be a thing, but you don't necessarily always have to like each other. Like the time where Chris Jericho and Triple H at WrestleMania, they had good chemistry, but they hated the shit out of each other from them times.
Yeah.
And obviously, again, good friends like now, whereas before, like some rivals back in the day were the best, but they hated each other in real life.
I feel like if you dislike someone, but there's a level of respect there, you could always go past that. You know what I mean? You could always make amends down the line because I think at the time you're feeling away, whatever. But then you always know in the back of your mind you actually respect this person. You know what I mean? And once you have that respect, when like I know, for example, I'm not going to mention who, but there was somebody that I didn't really get on with back in the day. Rest in peace. He died last year. He was quite a big name in the game, and when he died, I felt away. I felt upset, because I respected him a lot, and I kind of wish things. Look, even though we did squash it and we were cool afterwards, I kind of wish I made more of an effort to be, you know what I mean, to be there. But we were very young when we fell out. We were very young, and we were both like fighting for our spots, and it's very similar. So I get it. I totally understand it. But wrestling is a crazy thing. It's absolutely a crazy thing.
It's a weird thing how like it brings us all together, like even through like really shitty times, like even questionable periods of the WWE periods, and some certain decisions that I was like, why did you do this? Like especially like the 2006 times, especially like one thing that comes to mind was Vince McMahon and the God period. I was thinking like, is this entertainment or are you just trying to be like South Park and really want to take the piss? Do you know what I mean? So
yeah. Where would you put God on your Mount Rushmore?
Well, God is up there. God is up there. So God is at the top. God is the man. Like literally, you can't.
Serious question. What is your Mount Rushmore?
You try to put me on blast on that one, yeah. And then people are gonna look at me now and say like, "Nah, you don't like God." Nah, it's like cancel this guy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I know you're trying to do kill it.
Jay cancelled.
Not bad, man.
But Jay Bills, who would you say is in your Mount Rushmore wrestlers? Your top 4 of all time?
Okay, so The Rock is number 1 to me. Then I would say Steve Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would say it was a tough one because I could have said John Cena, but like I came in later as far as like the appreciation for John Cena. I think most of the Attitude Era people, so like Rock, Steve Austin, Triple H, Undertaker, definitely he definitely has to come up there for sure as one of the greatest. Shawn Michaels.
That's a good top 4. That's a nice top 4.
Yeah. I'd have to bring Shawn Michaels as a number 5 as well if we were to bring it, but number 4, yeah, definitely Undertaker comes in there.
Max, what was yours again?
Mine changes every week, bro.
But yeah, I'll probably feel like that next week as well. Let's be honest.
Definitely, Rock and Austin are there. Like definitely.
Yeah, like Rock. I never mentioned Rock in my top 4, but Rock is like one of my favorites of all time. So it's kind of weird. Like I don't know. I see Rock as a different. He's definitely a Mount Rushmore talent, and he should definitely be in mine. But I think because I grew up watching wrestling since I was 5. So from the early 90s. So I think I'm just considering all kinds of aspects of wrestlers that I loved. But obviously The Rock, technically The Rock is technically in my Mount Rushmore. I just don't really mention his name. But okay, let's move on. Let's talk about wrestling today. Mex, do you have any of the big news of what's going on in wrestling today that we can talk about?
So I think one of the big stories this past week, Strowman has kind of announced his first match post his WWE career. I believe he's going to be wrestling on a card that EC3 puts on. So EC3 does these own events, like these internet shows, Control Your Narrative. I believe they're like on pay-per-view or something like that. And he might be actually wrestling EC3.
Okay.
But yeah, that's that. Him and EC3 are good friends from way back. So yeah, that's one of the stories. I guess Braun Strowman kind of confirmed to be returning to wrestling soon. Other stories, Ciampa. Now we've obviously all this talk about NXT, and we're going to talk about NXT today on the show. Ciampa was clearing up a rumor where, I'm sure you've heard it. I'd rather retire than go to the main roster.
Ooh. Yeah.
So he basically said fans have heard this and taken it out of context and ran with it. However, that's not actually what he meant. What he meant was why he would rather retire is because of the schedule of the main roster.
Okay.
So he's obviously someone that's had issues with neck surgery for a while, and he's been pretty good in the last year or two, avoided all of that. But he's saying obviously the schedule of the main roster, 300 days on the road, wrestling all of those nights, it won't do him any good. He wants to also, as well, stay at home, be closer to home, and by doing that, or wrestling like an NXT styled schedule, that would extend his career. So, he was basically saying, so he says, if he was moved to the main roster, it would be a good spot for him in his career in terms of longevity. Whether one chooses to believe that interpretation or not, that's down to them. He said it's definitely nothing to do with creative planning, but that's what he says. So, yeah.
I mean, if we go to the history of NXT call-ups, it's like, I mean, the odd few people do succeed, but like a lot of them are just put into mid cards or like very dead storylines. So it's like, from his perspective, from what fans might look into it, is that I kind of get why fans would think that, because obviously, for him to go on the main roster now, who's to say that, he'll be pushed up the card? I mean, even with Adam Cole, like supposedly, being a free agent now and obviously WWE trying to get him back as far as to push him on the main roster. But, when you get signed to a big contract just to then be used for nothing, then what happens? So I guess Ciampa's, sort of remarks for that, even though the fans took it a different way, does kind of make sense that way as well to me. It makes
sense. And I mean, let's put it this way. When him, and I don't know if you guys remember, when him, Gargano, I think some other people were randomly called up to the main roster for a bit. They were on the main roster for about 3 weeks or so, if I remember correctly. Ciampa went up as NXT champion. Gargano went up as North American champion. They obviously hated each other. We know the story of their feud. They were stuck together in a tag team.
Yeah,
as champions on the main roster. And that kind of just shows you, how they would be used in the future, So
didn't Ciampa get injured straight away in his main roster match? He got injured.
I think he did. Hence why it was only lasted for 3 weeks. I think there was something that happened more or less immediately. So I mean,
personally, like Jay Bills just said, if you're a wrestling fan, you get it. Why would you be upset that he said such a thing? Or try to pull him up on it now because he might have to go to the main roster because NXT is obviously getting a revamp, which we'll talk about. But I don't blame anyone who's, especially coming from a pro wrestling background, especially coming from the indies and building your name for yourself. I don't blame anyone being worried how they're going to be treated in WWE. I don't. Okay. Okay, we'll talk about the rest of Ciampa stuff with NXT. Sorry, what else are you going to say, Matt?
There was some news on Brock Lesnar. Obviously, we saw him come back at SummerSlam. Brock Lesnar and his contracts, so that kind of broke, and it's looking like an 18-month deal that will take him through to about WrestleMania 2023. That's the Los Angeles WrestleMania. And between now and then, he's probably expected to have about 8 matches. That's kind of the deal he signed, an 18-month deal, 8 matches. So we can be expecting to see him a bit longer.
That's a lot better than Goldberg, like having to only wrestle twice a year and get like $1 million deals here and there.
Yeah, I think his Goldberg.
But he's smart though. He's smart though. Sorry to cut, but it's smart though, because if you only have to wrestle twice a year and you're getting I think it's like $1 million for the.
He's getting $3 million for 3 matches.
Well, I mean, if I were to only do 3 matches and get $3 million, I'm laughing, mate. I'm out the door. See you later. Bye.
He's getting $1 million a match. So isn't like Goldberg and Lashley having that match in Saudi? That's been confirmed.
Yeah, it's looking that way. It hasn't been confirmed just yet, but yeah, it's looking that way.
Okay, I hope Goldberg doesn't win.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, the whole Bray Wyatt Fiend squash match, that was disgusting. I thought you built up one of your best characters for a long time coming, only for Goldberg to win the championship, and he's a part-timer. I'm sorry to say, this whole thing of part-timer, you shouldn't be talking about it in that way, but I mean, look, he's a legend in his own right. I'm not taking anything away from Goldberg, but you need to build up new stars. And, obviously, yeah, the main one right now focus is Roman Reigns at this point. So, you need to build up more people. And yes, for the WWE to bring in past legends just to build up their ratings is to the point of you have no faith in your current talent, which is why you're getting all of these releases and they're going to their competitors. And then what happens is to say that, AEW's, ratings have been going up, especially with CM Punk returning. Hello, WWE, wake up. You know what I mean? Wake up, seriously, Yeah,
it's a bit mad. 3 last ones I'll just run through quickly. NXT made some new signees off the back of a trial. Notable names that they signed: the Usos' younger brother, Sefu, what's their surname?
Fatu,
yeah, Fatu. Bull Buchanan's son was signed as well.
Oh, really?
Gable Stevenson's younger brother was signed as well.
Okay.
Gable Stevenson that just got Olympic gold medal.
The Olympic gold medalist. Yeah.
Talk about NWA quickly, because I guess it's something big. Trevor Murdoch just became NWA champion the past week, beating Aldis after how many ever years to held that title. And last but not least, what we found out last night, All Out news: Pac and Andrade been cancelled. I think Pac is having some travel issues, so we're not going to see that on Sunday. And instead, they have moved the Women's Casino Battle Royal to the main card.
That is a shame.
Yeah. That should have been the match to really kind of kickstart both of them again.
I was really looking forward to that match.
Yeah. That's the main stories.
One thing I need to mention: condolences to Rikishi. His niece was murdered yesterday.
Oh, do you know what? Because I was just about to watch. I watch a lot of these YouTube channels like WrestleMania and Wrestle Talk, but I missed that bit. But it said Rikishi sad news, but I didn't know that was. Oh my god! Wow.
Yeah. She was only 16, so condolences to the Fatu family. That must be really tough.
Yeah, condolences for sure.
All right.
It's also been today, by the way, in the last hour or so. I'm not too familiar with her work. I know she was in Shimmer for a bit. Her name's Daphne Unga, passed away. I think there was something on the timeline earlier on today in regards to maybe some type of suicidal message that she had put out. So yeah, a bit of a scary one. So thoughts go out to her family.
That's very sad as well. All right, let's talk about the big news. It was announced the other day that Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard are going to be taking over the creative behind NXT. So obviously, all three of us must have saw that logo last week that was posted on Twitter. That was spray paint. It was paintball NXT. People parodying it, like Sesame Street.
Who came up with that logo? I just want to be in that room.
Dunn, apparently.
Oh,
yeah. Apparently, it was all Kevin Dunn.
Okay. Right. Okay. Sip.
So apparently, Vince. They've posed it as Vince and Bruce are taking over. I think Bruce is going to be the head guy on a week by week basis, where apparently Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Regal, Matt Bloom, A-Train, they're all still going to be there running it, right? But now they don't get the final decisions. They will run the final decision through Bruce Pritchard. He's going to be the main producer, apparently. And then if there's any or should we just class it as the main event scene, the top of the card, will then be passed on to Vince. So Vince basically seems like he wants to make sure the guys at the top are able to come into main roster at the top probably as well. He wants to make sure that top half of the card is good enough for main roster, and he's only going to be affecting decisions apparently on that top half / main event scene. Everything else is still going to be controlled by Triple H, Shawn Michaels, etc., and Bruce Pritchard will be overseeing what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
They've still got their hands on it, which is a scary sight, but
yeah.
It's mainly a developmental show. There's some, so there will still be some main eventers that's in NXT right now on the show. Is that what you're saying?
They initially, they said they're taking over and NXT was getting a rebrand, apparently the mission was to make it back to developmental and have no over 30s in NXT.
So what they're doing now?
Who knows? Those over 30s, I think I read something yesterday that said they'll get the choice to go to main roster or leave. For a lot of the long-term talent. And when we're talking long-term talent, I'm thinking Ciampa, I'm thinking Gargano, I'm thinking Kyle O'Reilly.
Roderick Strong.
Roderick Strong.
Samoa Joe is their champion though.
Yeah, but Samoa Joe's doing coaching and stuff behind scenes. He's doing like trials and stuff like that. So he's more than just an on-screen wrestler for them. So
he has more of an added addition to Samoa Joe than all the rest of the talent. Is that what you're saying?
I think Joe would be safe basically because he could lose his position as a wrestler if he was to drop the title, let's say. But like I said, just maybe when they done the SummerSlam, he was in Las Vegas doing the scouting with them, doing the recruitment when they done in Las Vegas.
Because he's doing that as well.
Yeah. So he's got a coaching role, he's got a recruitment role with NXT. So I think he'll be good if they did make this kind of sudden kind of cut.
I don't know what to make of it because I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not that much of an NXT person per se, but I do catch up on it at times. But the general gist of what I get through from what I understand, it is developmental. And what it seems like now being a Vince and Bruce project is that they want their main talents to be as main talents. So really, do you even call it a developmental place now because it's run over by Vince and Bruce? Do you really call it that now? Because really, you might as well just call it the third brand of the WWE, as in to say there's Raw, SmackDown, NXT as run by, Vince and Bruce.
I think that's what I think we're going to end up getting by the time this rebrand, the aesthetic rebrand has happened. We're going to get something that looks a lot more main roster than something that looks like a 400-person seater stadium, this, that, and the other.
Do you think? Sorry, just sorry to cut you. Do you think it's because of the constant back and forth of NXT versus AEW? This whole talk of the past year and a half, as far as ratings and stuff like that. Do they feel that they want to rebrand themselves to not feel that they're not in competition with AEW at this point?
They've definitely lost the battle, didn't they? And obviously that onus will go on to Triple H.
I think behind that though, there's we thought we could, as Triple H called them, we thought we could squash this pissant company, and we couldn't. Clearly, Vince is looking like, why couldn't you squash that pissant company? So let me put my hands on this and take control and bring it to what it should be. The guys he's calling up to the main roster from NXT never really, amount to much, if we're completely honest with ourselves. So a lot of them just end up in a mid-card IC champions and that. And it's like, maybe let me put my hands on this so that I can make the stars for here and, shoot them to the top, basically, fast track them on the main roster.
I don't know, man. Let's see how the rebrand happens. I mean, based on previous times within, even on the main roster, like I said, even some women on the women's division, it's like, you got your top stars like, Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch has just returned. I mean, that return from Becky Lynch, that's another segment I wanted to get into, but you got all your top stars, but again, you're not really this is the whole, I feel the theme with WWE is you're not pushing your talent enough to really get them to main event level or even mid-card level to be taken seriously, not just women but men in general. So I don't know. I find it tough to really like watch the product in such a way where I can really get behind these new talent, if that makes sense. And not to say
NXT, watch NXT products.
Not just NXT, but like people, people on the main roster as well. Like I want to, if I want to see that star power, like some of them, like that have the biggest potential, they're not built up to being stars. So then I don't see them as being stars. I mean, it could be a thing where I could be wrong and they prove themselves to be worthy of a star and they're working so hard and other things, but I don't know whether it's creative or whether it's other things, but sometimes I feel like with the current WWE product, it's very, very questionable at times. And it's just like your main stars and that's it. Like I said, Roman Reigns, I'm watching the show because I'm watching SmackDown because of mainly him at the moment. Like, and it's, even Bianca Belair, I'm watching because of her. But even that squash match at SummerSlam, it's all questionable, I think.
I just think it's just a dangerous slope they're doing because obviously we've seen this time and time before when the ECW brand got rebranded and sci-fi and they shitted all over that. And it's like people always are going to compare it to what it used to be, right? So you had the Vince version of ECW, people are going to compare it to the original ECW, and that was a shambles. And I can see this happening again where NXT had a really good wrestling show. Yes, it wasn't perfect. Obviously, COVID changed a lot of things and even myself, who was a diehard NXT fan, even recently, I haven't been watching it and keeping up to date. I've been watching takeovers, but I haven't been watching the regular NXT programming. So even myself is kind of falling out of it. But at the end of the day, I could just see them doing this whole new thing that's nothing like the old NXT, and people are going to compare the two, and it's going to get massacred again. So I feel for Triple H. He really worked hard. He tried his best. At the same time, I understand Vince needs to destroy all competition and make money. And
I mean, because it's a business at the end of the day, so you can't deny that.
At the end of the day, and I do feel NXT was running at a loss for a long time. So I think Vince probably was like, nope, all right, cool, you had your chance. Now it's time for me. And Kevin Dunn really pissed wrestling fans off.
The thing is,
I do it so well.
I always say, like, back in like Attitude Era, early Ruthless Aggression times, they would debut someone, no matter if they were, someone young or if they came from another company, they would debut them alongside a main eventer or in the main event, like literally make someone a star overnight or at least talked about. And
give the rub.
Give you literally, and that's giving them the best chance at success. Now, of course, if the crowd takes to them, they stay there. If the crowd's not so keen on them, they might drop down to the mid card. But I think that was a good way to do it because, like we were saying, you're giving everybody a chance from the go, from the get-go. And if the fans take to you, then cool. But yeah, when you're debuting people in all sorts of positions, like especially parts where you don't care about, like people have been debuted in the 24/7 title scene. Like, come on, like just
who cares?
Not serious, exactly. Like, but yeah,
R-Truth being like over 100 time 24/7 champion, like for segments that probably take up to 5 minutes of the show, and that's it. No one cares, unfortunately. No one cares. Retire the 24/7 championship. I'm saying it now. Retire it, please.
All right, next up, should we just go to AEW, or you want to talk more WWE stuff?
I think Jay Bills wanted to vent about Becky.
Oh yeah. Jay Bills, do me a favor, talk about Becky Lynch. I want to get my MacBook charger. I'm listening though.
I do agree with Becky Lynch returning. I just don't agree with how it was played out. I don't agree with how it was played out. It should have been like, unless they were fearing because of CM Punk returning, they're just thinking, oh, we need our big stars back and just to do impact like straight away and, just follow up. It seems like they're following up with the story by turning Becky heel, but I'm wondering, like, in the creative room, did they really think about it like ahead, like a good amount of weeks within time for Becky to make that return? I mean, obviously Sasha's out. Does anyone know whether that was because of injury or other person? No one knows, do they?
So Sasha was in Las Vegas that weekend. No one's actually come out and said that what's going on. But the story is the Becky return for this particular slot where it happened, how it happened, was the plan for maybe a week or so beforehand. It was always the plan. They knew Sasha was not making this match, but they obviously kept promoting it for some weird reason.
I don't know why they would do that, but yeah, go on.
It's mad, especially when people are buying tickets. I think that's absolutely nuts. But yeah, cards subject to change, like they always say.
Cesaro.
So yeah, Becky was always the plan, they say, but the last minute one as a counter to CM Punk was Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar basically had a truck reverse and drop all the money out of his car by his front door, and he came to work. So and they have said that. They've said Brock Lesnar was a reaction. So yeah.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Becky Lynch as I love Becky Lynch all the world. I love how her story accidentally got her to the rise she's got to, and she's worked hard. And I love that about her. I'm not denying Becky Lynch. I just don't agree with the creative in terms of squashing Bianca Belair when knowing like she's the next star to come out of. If we think Sasha Banks, Bayley, Charlotte, who was the other one or horsewomen? What
Bayley,
I just said
Sasha, Charlotte, Becky. You never
right.
Becky, yeah.
Right, I didn't mention Becky. So you got all those 4 women, right? And I feel that Belair is the next one to come, as in like one of the top female superstars, right? But how they're doing it at the moment, like there's a plan in terms of place to have Becky heel versus Belair face at Extreme Rules, fine. But the way they did it just to get something quick and to get a reaction, fine. But as a squash, even some of the interviews I've seen afterwards, like she, deep in her soul, I knew she was kind of upset, but she kept that positivity up anyway. I knew she was annoyed, but I don't know. I just feel like the squash was wrong, and it should have been just like a true competitive match, even if it was just like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something, just to run a bit of time with.
They could have taken out Shinsuke Nakamura's mini concert and the whole water gun thing.
With Xavier. I love up, down, down. I love up, down, down as a channel. I love it. I absolutely love it. I watch like the party, all of that sort of stuff. I love that. But the whole segment, that could have been chopped off. I'm sorry. Yeah. It could have been just chopped off, done. Like, there was no need for it because no one was really reacting to it either. So, like, why are you, just to add time? Nah, get out of here.
Basically.
Yeah, I agree. Like Bianca, I don't know. I mean, they could have really booked her to be a powerhouse. That's what I would have done. Just booked her to be the strongest female in that whole roster. Very dominant. But she lost to Becky in
25 seconds, I heard.
I think it was 6.
It felt like it was 6.
It felt like it. It was so quick.
But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I mean, haven't been catching up with SmackDown. Has Becky and Bianca had like a back and forth?
So Becky came out, ran her mouth about winning it. She's still very much over as a face. Said some kind of things with the crowd booed, but they're still gonna cheer her. Bianca came out, and for some reason, Bianca then was put into a number 1 contenders match with Zelina Vega, Carmella, and Liv Morgan. Bianca won the number 1 contenders match. So obviously she's gonna go back after Becky. The arena I've already started promoting is Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair at Extreme Rules, although nothing's been said on TV. So that's the direction we're going, at least for the next month.
And what I heard as well is like with the tease of a heel turn was that when Bianca had asked her like, "Oh, let's do this. Let's do this in the ring now. Let's do it for the women's championship." She goes, "Nah," and walked out. So I thought the tease was good because I'm thinking like, okay, if you're gonna do this heel turn, eventually that's the starting point. And I think, okay, cool, do it in little teases, fine. Put the seeds in, but yeah, that was a good start.
She said some other stuff during her promo, like I had to do what I had to do and all of this kind of stuff. I was ready, waiting at home. I took this opportunity, this, that, and the other. And the crowd booed her a bit, but they love her. Like turning her heel is going to be very, very difficult.
Exactly.
Very difficult. To get them to boo her is going to be very, very hard.
Okay, all right. So that's what Jay Bills thinks of the Becky Lynch return. Let's talk about AEW. All Out is this weekend. Since CM Punk has arrived into All Elite Wrestling, momentum has been sky high, and the product, in my opinion, has gotten even better in that short period of time. Imagine it was good anyway. But I'll probably list some matches. I mean, do you want to talk about Dynamite? Shall I just list some matches?
What this week's Dynamite?
Yeah, I mean, there was that nice little segment where Sting and Punk and Darby Allin had shared the ring together, and Sting was bigging up how much he always wanted to meet CM Punk and always wanted to share a ring with him.
That was nice.
That was nice.
Yeah.
And he said that I'm not going to get in the way between the matches. It's Sting versus Darby, and I'm not going to be ringside, which is really good for Darby, by the way. That's going to book that. So I'm assuming that's going to be the last match, right, of the pay-per-view.
I don't think so. I don't think they. Yeah, I don't think it will. I think Punk is a kind of guy as well that knows the World Championship should go on last. So yeah.
I hear you. Yeah, I think it's given up. You know, the amount of times he said in the ring recently about, you know, I'm happy to be back, but I'm, you know, he's so passionate about seeing the young people come up. You know what I mean? He mentioned a lot of names on his return. So he's saying it's about them. You know what I mean? So I think to have him, like, say, I don't know, third or second to main event would probably be all right in my opinion. But like, you know what I mean? Like, give the main events to, like, you know, to Kenny Omega versus is it Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage? Yeah, man. So give it to them. Like Kenny's on a tear as well.
Oh, Kenny, he's just
my favorite part of Dynamite, Miro's promo.
Yes.
Miro said this guy thinks that, you know, DDTs and stuff, you know, the chink in the armor, dropping me on my neck, etc., etc. God's favorite champion only stays down for his wife in a hotel room after a victory. This guy's world class. I'm sorry.
Do you know what it is? He shares the same birthday as me, by the way. Just for
is that Christmas Day?
Yeah. yeah. So I thought, like, yeah, Miro, you're the man, Donny. You're the man. You're
definitely the man right now, man.
Miro's in his bag right now. He's definitely, and this is why I'm glad it slowly built up. There wasn't using when he first signed, people were upset. He wasn't straight away catapulted to the main event scene. But I think that's don't do what WCW did back in the day, and this like get a main eventer and make that guy a main eventer. Sometimes you get somebody who's a star and you slowly build them to become an AEW star. Do you know what I mean? There's a difference between Miro and Rusev. It's a big difference.
100%. No. Do you know what I have to say as well? Is that I feel like AEW is full of authenticity as far as how they bring out their product. Yeah. In a sense where, like, you know, even their promos, you can tell it's not scripted. And even if there's a part of like points to point out, like even with CM Punk returning, like there was like he didn't know what to genuinely say apart from maybe just the point of Darby Allin, he's going to face him. But you know, you can just tell, like, you know, the wrestling in the ring is fantastic, but the promos are just like top class.
Even Moxley's promo, like the whole thing with Kojima, like, you know, I sent the signature one way, it came back with one signature. Kojima, like, he's a legend, but I don't want to hurt this old man. Like every time I give him the 30 deeds or whatever he called it, I can't remember his finishing move is. Every time he gets it, I'm trying to break his neck. Every time I put him in the bulldog choke, I'm trying to crush his esophagus. Like remember Dean Ambrose and the wacky stuff they would always have him saying, like. And now it's just pure crud, pure violence. Like, this is who he was always meant to be.
Yeah. And I just think, like, mate, the people that have come from WWE that have been released, like, you know, I spoke to Mickie James a few weeks ago on my channel. And even, like, she was saying she felt like, you know, she was in control now and be able to do, you know, work with the NWA and all different things. That she feels now that she feels a sense like a weight is lifted off her shoulders, that she can really empower women, especially like with the NWA female scene as well. So like for people that have left WWE and they've gone on to do different things, whether it's wrestling or not, they feel a sense of relief and they feel more creatively themselves more than ever in the WWE system.
All right, so I will mention some of the matches that I can see when I'm tapping on my Google machine. And I'm going to list some matches, and you guys just give me some predictions of where you think who's going to win, and if you're liking the current build-up to the storyline as well. So we'll probably start off with, are you liking the build-up, and who do you think is going to win? So the first match that I've got here, I think it's going to be like a kickoff match. Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, Wheeler Yuta, and Jurassic Express, which would be Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, versus the HFO, which is Matt Hardy, Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn. Well, that's Private Party, isn't it? That's the name of Private Party. Angelico and Jack Evans. So who do you guys, first of all, you liking this little storyline between Orange Cassidy And Matt Hardy, you enjoying this rivalry? No? Okay, Max is shaking his head.
I don't, because you know what, the Matt Hardy office thing is just so, it's a mess. There's just so many men in it, and it's like, so one week they win, one week they lose, one week they cheat. It's just typical mid-card heel faction kind of nonsense sort of thing. Right. And yeah, I just it's been happening for some weeks now, and I'm just a bit over it. Like, at least these guys get a match on at least a buy-in. Like, yeah, but it's whatever. I think Matt Hardy's team probably win, to be fair. They're just trading victories aimlessly. So yeah.
I think Matt Hardy's gonna win. What do you think?
I think so as well. I mean, you know, with the I think the past couple of weeks with Orange Cassidy versus Matt Hardy, like the whole gimmicks that they brought to, I think, when was it? The first wasn't this week, it was last week, wasn't it? Where they were doing like was it Orange Cassidy was doing his little mini kicks and then the deletes and money in the air and stuff like that, and it's just like the gimmick all over the place. Like, it was a gimmick match all over, for goodness sake. But I think Matt Hardy's team will win on this one. But even though, like, I really want to see Orange Cassidy be built up like fully, like, because his gimmick is like no other. But I think he just needs to be, you know, I think he needs to find a rivalry where he's really going to elevate even further, like, and let his gimmick take it with him as well. So
okay. 21 women for the number one contendership shot for the women's AEW Women's Championship. Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, The Bunny, Big Swole, Julia Hart, Tay Conti, who actually had a good match. It was good to see Tay Conti. Actually, she looks like she's really enjoying her wrestling in AEW.
She's really kicked on since NXT.
Yeah, she wasn't really given a chance much at NXT. I felt. I was always impressed with her in NXT, but she wasn't really given much of a chance. And I'm glad she was actually shining AEW. Dynamite, Penelope Ford, Red Velvet, Harika Shida, so many names in here. Jade Cargill, Kira Hogan, the list goes on. Who you guys think will be the number one contender to face Britt Baker?
Well, I guess there's two questions here. There's going to be a Joker.
There's
going to be a Joker.
There's a wild card, isn't it? Yeah,
a wild card. So who's going to be the wild card, and then who's going
Mercedes
Martinez,
Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks to AEW confirmed.
Could be Mercedes Martinez, but she left before, didn't she? So why would they hire her back?
Who? But she never had a deal with AEW. She was just called in for a one-off.
True, and she's left NXT now, hasn't she?
Yeah. She got kicked out.
Oh, I hope, you know what I hope it is.
Who?
I hope it's Billy Kay and Peyton Royce.
I hope it's them as well.
I hope it's them.
Oh, the inspiration is what they go by now.
Is that their new tag name?
Yeah, the inspiration.
Inspirations. Wow. I mean,
they're the only two that could come in as one person to take one place. Like, yeah, and I don't think they would win. But they would be fun. I think it would be Deonna Purrazzo. Impact Women's Champion. She's been making a lot of noise about coming through the forbidden door. So, and
she's been doing a lot of stuff, she's been killing it. She's going in and out everywhere. So
is she not in the program with Melina and Mickey James at the moment in Impact?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So yeah, man, she's putting that noise out there, man. She's putting that noise out there. But
Ruby Soho is another name people are mentioning. Ruby Riott, formerly Ruby Riott.
Yeah, I would love to see her in AEW. I'd love to see her in AEW. I think.
Ruby Riott. She did that promo package with the cast.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
But I think it was the recent film package. I think it was on her Instagram. Like, literally, what's it? She went to the bouncer. Oh, here's my ID. Went into the club, had a few drinks, chilled, and that was part of her promo and stuff like that. And yeah, man, I think. She had a good run with the Riot Squad in WWE to an extent, but I think as a solo act, I think she can really like hone it in as like bring a personality in AEW. So I would love to see that.
John Moxley versus Satoshi Kojima, who is a legend in Japanese wrestling, one of the first ever wrestlers to hold both the NJPW and APW titles. If you know about all Japan Pro Wrestling, which is absolutely nuts for that. The fact that he could actually do that, because them two don't really get on. So, and he's obviously very old. When I say very old, he's not very old, but he's done his thing. He's done his time.
Yeah.
You know, he's way past his prime. But when you're a Japanese wrestler, you can go until you're like in your 60s, man. They like there's wrestlers out there that till this day, well, I watched as a kid in their prime, are still going today, and I'm like, how the hell?
Love of the game, man.
Yeah. So obviously this is going to be another great match. You know,
I'm sorry. It's going to be a great match, like you said. Not taking anything away, but this is very underwhelming from the Tanahashi match. That
of course it is.
Have been.
Of course it is. Of course, and the fact that they actually advertised Tanahashi as well.
And I don't even think Tanahashi. The reason he can't do the Sundays because he was meant to have a match on Saturday, and obviously he can't get back and quarantine and this, that, and the other. And now because Kota Ibushi's unwell, I'm not even sure if his match is going ahead with Tanahashi.
Right, I see.
So it's just been a bit of a mess, and then obviously Kojima's second best, which isn't fair on him. They'll have a good match.
And then we've seen this before. You know, Yuji Nagata had a match with Moxley a few months ago, and it was nice. It was nice. You know, it was a lot of, you know, Yuji Nagata, another wrestler who's much older now. He can't move like he used to, but you know, Moxley still made it work. You know what I mean? So I think this will be the same.
They need to start. They know what they're doing. They're sending over their old legends that still have prestige and have won this and won that. Send over Okada, Tanahashi, Kota Ibushi. Those are the names that people want to see now, and we can't so easily predict who's going to win.
I have to agree. Like, what is going on? Because there's a deal on the table. They've got a working relationship. So let's see.
So was it AEW? Like they have that working relationship with New Japan. Like,
so let's see. Let's finally see. AEW versus New Japan. Let's finally see the Elite versus Bullet Club. Let's finally see.
Let's have it as like the Survivor Series in AEW versus NJPW. So have those teams compete, and let's see who's the dominant brand out of the two.
Even Blood and Guts, they can do something at Blood and Guts, like you know the War Games.
Oh, the War Games. Oh yes,
like
do that. Have barbed wires around the thing. You know what I mean? Go crazy. The crazier, the better. These crazy motherfuckers in Japan, they'll go all out.
You know what I mean?
No pun intended. So why not?
Like Tanahashi against Moxley. Imagine Okada versus Punk. I mean, imagine that.
God. Wow.
Like this is the stuff they need to start doing. Daniel Bryan's coming back soon, so that might be the merger between the two actually.
Yeah,
I feel like
didn't Brian say that he wanted to have that WWE relationship with NJPW, but it fell through. They were going to make that happen for Brian. Yeah, but then it fell through. So obviously
it fell through. So now he's going all Elite
to do that. Yeah,
I'm sure he's going to do that. So what did you guys think about the tease Britt Baker did about the hot free agent coming in?
When I saw that, I was thinking like, yeah. There's no way it's going to be so predictable, like to say Adam Cole's going to come through, because being at a heel, like I was thinking, oh, is she going to say it? And then I'm thinking like, nah, it's too good to be true. Like I think it's too early, like in that tease. But do you know what? With that though, like I want to, like, do you know what I do want to see in AEW? Like, should it happen? I want to see Adam Cole and Britt Baker versus CM Punk, and if she wants to return, AJ Lee. Mixed tag team match.
CM Punk actually shut down like this week, 2 days ago, that her neck is not in a position for her to return.
But that would have been sick though, if it like mixed tag team match, like a lot of fun, like to see who's the better couple in that respect. But you don't want to have it too much like a mixed tag team event like on WWE, but just as a one-off. But yeah, with Britt Baker teasing as a promo, I was like, yeah. But then when she said no,
she said free agent. She signed a new deal. She signed a new deal like last week or something, like an extension on her deal. So that's what she's kind of trying to make jokes about. But
trolling basically, trolling at its finest. Yeah.
Next up, the match everybody wants to see: Paul White versus QT Marshall.
Give it a rest. The Factory are so dead, bro. Like. The Factory, like the minute they lost Ogogo, they lost all appeal. Like Ogogo must honestly be chilling in his house here and just be thinking, like, what's going on?
What happened to Ogogo? Did he get injured?
He got injured, yeah.
So Billy Gunn, I guess, was the plot twist. Billy Gunn and his sons turned a big show.
Why?
I don't know. So I guess Billy Gunn's going to be helping QT Marshall this weekend.
Yeah, unless something follows up from it as a continuous storyline, but I just saw it as like a throwaway.
Yeah, obviously Big Show's going to win.
You can't have Big Show. You can't have Paul White. That's his technical name now. You can't have Paul like lose on his first match.
No.
Like
Paul White will win, and maybe Shaquille O'Neal will show up.
Yeah. Do we really want to see? I mean, it's been teased how many times?
I don't care. I don't care anymore. I don't want to see it. I personally don't want to see it. But if it happens, I'll embrace the spectacle. But I'm not asking for
because
it.
remember Shaq and Jade Cargill had a match together not too long ago.
That's what I was gonna say. Like that was an impressive showing for Shaq's first match ever. So for him to do a powerbomb successfully, and to even sell like being put through the table, like that was a really good look. But
I think he's showing up this weekend. I think he is. I think he is.
It won't be far-fetched. He works for the channel, so
yeah. Jericho versus MJF. There's been a brilliant build-up. MJF's been putting Jericho through very different matches, really testing his mettle. And then MJF end up beating him as well. And now Jericho is saying, if I lose against MJF this weekend at All Out, he's going to retire from. I've always noticed. I've noticed these things when he says, "I will retire from AEW." He never said he will retire from wrestling.
Wrestling in AEW. That's
yeah. So turn back. Come back to WWE if it will allow him to come back. No one's there. But he's saying, but they were saying,
never know. He might go back. He might go back WWE. Quick 6-month stint, get Hall of Fame, and then return to AEW.
Can he do that though?
Why not?
But then, yeah, true. Because then, whilst in his WWE contract, he faced Kenny Omega in New Japan. So, so I guess he has the right to do so. I guess he's got that free reign.
But he's not losing this weekend, though.
He's not. This isn't his. This isn't how he's going out. So, I think he's definitely winding down his career, 100%. But this ain't how he's going out. It might be to MJF eventually, but this weekend is not where it's happening.
Exactly.
You need a bigger. Like MJF is one of the best heels in wrestling. Full stop. But I don't think it should be to MJF. I think it has to be someone else. I don't know. It could be MJF maybe in a few years to come, but not now. I think
MJF is a good contender just because of the ilk. He's very Chris Jericho at one point of Chris Jericho's life, innit? He's very kind of that slimy character and all of that kind of stuff. There's some other contenders to do that as well, to put Jericho away finally. But I definitely will give him credit to say he could be one of them. But yeah, like you're saying, it would be down the line. It wouldn't be now.
It'd be like the Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho from back that time to now. MJF is now the new Chris Jericho in that sense.
Miro versus Eddie Kingston for the AEW TNT Championship. Who you guys got? Let's go with Jay saying Miro.
I'm saying Miro. I think he needs to have like a lengthy reign. Like he needs because. He was United States champion WWE, and that was a good run. But I think he needs to have a substantial run as TNT champion to really cement him in the company. So I think give him a long title reign. So I think Miro's got this one.
I think Miro too. Max?
I think Miro wins with the help of Lana, CJ Perry.
Lana shows up. Good shout. Yeah, I think.
Oh, right. her non-complete clause is finished now, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That'd be interesting. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson versus the Lucha Bros, Rey Fenix and Pentagon. Who you got?
I got the Lucha Bros, man. I think it's their time. The Elite have done good with these belts. I think we're slowly seeing the demise of the Elite, of losing all their titles and all of that kind of stuff. The cage match, I can't wait for it. It's going to be absolutely crazy. Like, I'm praying Rey Fenix and Nick Jackson, between those two, that no one dies on Sunday, because they're probably planning something nuts. But
I predict Rey Fenix doing the Alex Skipper.
Oh, shit.
The what?
The Alex Skipper.
What's that?
You know the Alex Skipper? You know the wrestler Alex Skipper? Primetime.
Yeah. I'm here thinking of a move. Yeah.
Sorry. You remember when he did the walk on the cage in TNA?
Okay, yeah. And then done the Hurricane Runner. Yeah.
I predicted Rey Fenix do that.
Okay.
I don't think anyone's done that since.
Not that I've seen.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I predict Ray Phoenix does something homage to
Hurricane run off the top of that cage. Like them AEW cages as well are mad big. Like they're like the WWE's Hell in a Cell, just without the ceiling.
Yeah.
Like
wait, so they're
very
tall.
high.
They're taller than they're taller than the WWE's cages.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I
didn't even look at it like that. But
it's literally like WWE's Hell in a Cell without a ceiling.
Yeah,
Like,
it's mad. Yeah, that's what when they brought it down on Dynamite, it looked crazy. I was like, what?
I remember
are you talking about the Hell in a Cell from the early 90s,
like the Hell in a Cell today,
or the 2000? Oh,
like
the really high Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Okay.
Like even when Cody, he had a match against Wardlow, in a cage match, and when Cody went up there and done a moonsault, this guy was turning backwards for time before he hit the ground, bro. Like
I missed that bit, but I heard a lot about it. So yeah.
Okay, so we all thinking Lucha Bros. I think Lucha Bros as well.
Yeah, but I do.
No, I think something tells me Young Bucks, but some sneaky way for some reason. But yeah, I hope the Lucha Bros get it as well. For some reason,
see on Dynamite, when these lot were trying to get into the cage in that main event segment, like all the faces were trying to get into the cage, and Brandon Cutler was spraying them like they're insects, like repellent with his spray, like and they were just dropping. Jack Perry just dropped like a fly.
That was jokes. Britt Baker versus Chris Statlander for the AEW Women's Championship.
DMD all day, man.
DMD all day for me too.
Yeah. Britt's retaining.
She's AEW Charlotte, isn't it?
Yeah,
she's the golden girl for Tony Khan, like she says.
Yeah. I think it'll be a long time before she loses her championship, and even then, she'll still be on the main. She'll still be main event, regardless.
CM Punk. Sorry. Yeah, let's just talk about it. I was gonna call this the last match, but let's just do it now. CM Punk versus Darby Allin, singles match. I don't know why I thought this will have a gimmick in it. I thought it'd be a hardcore match, whatever, because Darby Allin always does some madness. But yeah, Punk, right?
Yeah.
Do you think Punk will put Allin over?
If he did, I would rate that so much, and at least that would be the beginning of this, like a crisis of confidence kind of story. Like, I've come back, first match, can I actually hack it? I've lost to Darby Allin. That would be very, very interesting to go from, but this is in Chicago, man, and AEW so far haven't made a habit of making people lose in their hometown. That's a WWE thing.
And Chicago fans will go nuts if
they'll set the building alight.
Basically the whole arena. There's no arena left.
Yeah. They'll set the building.
Punk's winning. Punk's winning. So Punk's winning.
Yeah, I think Punk on his first win. As long as like if they're continuing the storyline and they have like a Punk versus Darby Allin too, as long as it's not in Chicago, then let Darby put a win somehow and bring him up as well. Because I think CM Punk he religiously said about the young guys, so build him up in another town. So, but not Chicago. I think it's too much for that.
Yeah.
And lastly, Kenny Omega versus Christian for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. I'm gonna call my prediction first. Kenny Omega retains.
Yep, Kenny. I agree with you. I think you've already got Christian as Impact champion. I don't see how him having both titles at this early stage is going to benefit when knowing that Kenny Omega is like the forefront of AEW and needs to push it forward. I got
another prediction. We saw a teaser of how the Elite gets on with their opponents, especially with Christian, especially with, and I think Kenny's gonna win. The Elite will come down, attack Christian afterwards, do like a typical NWO running, beating up the Rastas. And then who's the guy that used to come and defend against NWO? Sting, right? But I'm not saying Sting will show up in this one. Daniel Bryan shows up.
Daniel Bryan's definitely, in my opinion, coming out. And that's why I think more than anything, why I think more than anything, this is going to be the main event match.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Kenny Omega made a point, even before Adam Page came back and challenged him, before obviously Adam Page has gone off. He said, there's no one left. There's no one left in AEW. I've done it all. I've beaten everyone. I'm going to go and defend my AAA championship, my Impact championship. So Adam Page is obviously on paternity leave right now. He'll be back soon. and I think Adam Page will probably beat him in November at Full Gear for the title. But in the meantime, Daniel Bryan comes out, gets some wins under his belt, and gets it cracking with Kenny Omega.
I think so too.
If he comes back, does he eventually win the AEW championship and then go over to New Japan to then try be NJPW champion as well?
Who, Daniel Bryan?
Mm.
I don't think he wins the AEW title.
You don't think he will?
No.
No.
Not definitely not within the next 6 months or so.
No,
I don't think so.
It'll definitely, and the same with Punk. I think Punk and
same with Punk. Look what they've done with Christian. They very much made the point of it don't matter what your name is. No one's coming in and being shot to the top. So you're gonna have to go get your wins and everything, and then once you're top of the rankings, then you can get your opportunity. And they've stayed true to that. So yeah, they're gonna have to maybe go on Dark Elevation, all them other shows, get some wins up. But
because it's all about wins and losses in AEW compared to WWE. So that's the point. That's the point.
And they've stuck to it. So
yeah.
Okay, well, listen, this has been a very interesting episode. We've all gave our predictions about what's going to happen at All Elite Wrestling. Obviously, we're going to be doing a recap review on All Elite next week. Jay, thank you for joining us, man. And you're always welcome to join us as much as possible. You're part of the, we'll always have you on the show. Where can people find you if they want to hear more of your hot takes and see what you do and your work and things like that?
Wow, it's weird because I've never been asked that before. I'm not the one asking that, so it's crazy. So if you want to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, it is official J Bills with a Z. If you want to follow my channel, Media Spotlight UK, on Instagram it's Media Spotlight UK. Twitter is M_Spotlight UK. I'm on Twitter, on TikTok now as well. Done for the past couple of months. So Media Spotlight UK, YouTube channel, Media Spotlight UK. Search up Media Spotlight UK and you'll find it. And I'm here with my red hair. I might dye it again soon, but who knows?
Love it. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Max, we'll talk about All Elite next week, and we'll see what else happens in the future of wrestling going forward. This has been the Kick Out. Thank you for tuning in.
Goodbye.